Okay, this is week 18, day 2, pages 353 and 354, starting with number 2. Give the domain and range of this set. Well, when you do the domain, remember that the domain is the x values and the range is the y values. So if I look for all of the x coordinates, those would be the first values that are listed in each of my ordered pairs. So my domain is the set that contains those numbers, -6, 0, and 4. I put them in order because it's easier to read, and note that even though -6 appeared here and here, I only list it once in my set. Now to move on to the range, that would be all of the outputs, or my y coordinates. That would be the numbers starting, I'll write range equals, and it's a set, so I need brackets, and then to put those in order, I would write -3, 2, 6, 7. If you're looking at a graph, and this is number 8, and we're still trying to find the domain and the range, remember that the domain are all of the x values. So I know that I'm using -1 as an x value, and I'm using 2 as an x value, but notice that for these points, I need to use all of these x's in order to get the points between my -1, -2, and my 2, 5. So, for example, this point right here needs the x value of 1. So 1 has to be included in my domain. This value here needs the x value of 1/2. So 1/2 needs to be included. And I actually need to include all the numbers from -1 to 2. So the way I'm going to write that is as a double inequality. I'm going to say -1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 2. That means I want all the millions of numbers that go from -1 to 2. Now let's look at the range. I know that I'm using -2 as one of my numbers, and I'm using 5 as one of my numbers. But let's take a point, like this guy right here. He is using the y value of 3. This point right here is using the y value of 1. This point right here is using the y value of -1/2. So in essence, what I'm looking at is all of these numbers on my y-axis are being used to come up with the points on that segment. So the way that I write that down is I say -2 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 5, because that shows that my y numbers are all the numbers from -2 to 5. Number 16 says to graph the relation A. So what I need to do is take my 3 ordered pairs. The first one is -3, -1, which is right here. The next one is 0, 1. That means 0 left or right and 1 unit up. And the last point is 2, 4. So I'm going to go 2 to the right and 4 up and put my final point. For this problem, number 28, which is like number 29, the one you need to do, and it's also similar to 22 through 27, you're given the relation, the equation for the relation, and you're given the domain, and you're supposed to find the ordered pairs. And for 29, you also have to graph those. So if you're given the domain, the easiest way to do that is to make an XY table. The x's are inputs, so I'm going to put -2 and 0 and 2 for my inputs. And then I need to calculate what the output will be. Well, if I take the equation y equals 2x and I put in -2 for x, I'm going to get y equals -4. So that means -4 is what is the output if I put -2 in. Okay, so let's do that with the next one. I've got y equals 2x again, but this time I'm putting 0 in for x, and I get y equals 0. That means the output is 0 when the input is 0. And then for the last one, I've got y equals 2x, and this time I'm putting in 2 for x. 2 times 2 is 4, so I get y equals 4, which means the output is 4 when the input is 2. Now I just need to graph those. -2, -4 is going to be right here. 0, 0, which we call the origin, is right there, and 2, 4 is right there.